Have you ever wondered if one person can truly change the course of history? Let me tell you a story about a young woman who did just that, a story of hidden courage and incredible faith. Long ago, in the vast Persian Empire, a powerful king named Ahasuerus needed a new queen. From all across the land, young women were brought to the palace, but one stood out above all others. Her name was Esther. She was not only beautiful but also possessed a quiet wisdom and a gentle heart. Esther was chosen as the new queen, a dream come true for many, but she carried a secret. On the advice of her cousin and guardian, Mordecai, she kept her Jewish heritage hidden from everyone, even the king. Life in the palace was a whirlwind of luxury and royal duties. But soon, a dark shadow fell over the kingdom. A man named Haman, arrogant and cruel, was promoted to the highest position under the king. He demanded that everyone bow down to him, but Mordecai, a man of principle, refused. This small act of defiance ignited a fire of hatred in Haman. His rage was so immense that he decided not just to punish Mordecai, but to annihilate every single Jewish person in the entire empire. Haman was a master of manipulation. He went to the king and painted a false picture of the Jewish people, convincing King Ahasuerus to sign a decree for their destruction. In the Persian Empire, once a king's decree was sealed, it could never be reversed. The news spread like a plague, and a wave of terror and grief swept through the Jewish communities. When Mordecai heard the terrible news, he tore his clothes in despair and sent a desperate message to Queen Esther. He told her she couldn't stay silent. She was in a unique position to speak to the king and plead for her people. But this was a terrifying request. In those days, approaching the king without being summoned was a death sentence. The only hope was if the king extended his golden scepter, a sign of mercy. Esther was afraid. She was the queen, yes, but she was also a woman in a dangerous court, and her life was on the line. She sent a message back to Mordecai, reminding him of the law, but his reply was firm and unforgettable. He told her not to think that her position in the palace would save her when all her people were gone. He asked, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Those words struck Esther's heart. She realized her life, her position, everything had led to this single, pivotal moment. She found a new strength, a courage born from faith. She sent one final message to Mordecai: "Gather all the Jews and fast and pray for me. I will do the same." And then, she said the powerful words that have echoed through centuries: "I will go to the king, which is against the law. And if I perish, I perish." After 3 days of fasting and prayer, Esther put on her royal robes and stepped into the inner court of the palace, her heart pounding with every step. She stood, waiting, her entire future and the fate of her people hanging in the balance. The king saw her, and in a moment that changed everything. He smiled and held out his golden scepter. He welcomed her, but Esther was wise. She didn't blurt out her request. Instead, she invited the king and Haman to a private banquet, and then a second one. At this final banquet, with the king in good spirits, he asked her once more what she desired. Taking a deep breath, she revealed her secret. She told him she was Jewish and that a wicked man had plotted to destroy her and all her people. The king was stunned. When Esther pointed to Haman as the villain, the king's shock turned to fury. Haman's treachery was exposed, and his downfall was swift and absolute. But the original decree of destruction still stood. So, the king gave Esther and Mordecai the power to write a new decree. This new law gave the Jewish people the right to defend themselves against their attackers. When the day of destruction arrived, it became a day of deliverance. The Jewish people, empowered by the new decree, fought for their lives and were victorious. Instead of mourning, there was celebration. This incredible turn of events is still celebrated today in the Jewish festival of Purim. It's a joyous time to remember the courage of a young queen, the hidden hand of God protecting his people, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Esther's story reminds us that we all have a purpose. Sometimes, we're placed in challenging situations not by accident, but for a reason. Like Esther, we can find the courage to stand up for what's right, even when we're afraid. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of incredible people who changed the world.